Hello everybody, it's MicheleMarieDalene. Today, we're going to talk about some of the T-Mobile plans. And we're going to compare them with the Frontier home internet plans. I know nothing about the local cable company, which is Charter here in Winston plans. I did get a quote for one plan, but that was a 2-year special offer, and that was some time ago. And we use the internet here. It really had problems with the end user license agreement. So today we're going to talk about the choices for people on fixed income. Maybe you are living in an area where there is no internet available from a high-speed wired internet provider, maybe from your local cable TV company, if you have cable, or your local telephone provider. In many cases, the telephone providers usually the rates vary anywhere from depending how far away you are from the phone central office, what they call where the circuits connect in such a high-speed internet such as DSL. If you're a certain distance from the central office or from the nearest internet port on the system, you are potentially limited rates anywhere from 250 kilobits per second to 1 megabit per second up, and the down rates can be again anywhere from 250 kilobits per second to 16 megabits per second. I'm talking about, of course, that's your standard DSL, ADSL 2+, ADSL 2. I'm not including Google Fiber here, which would be a great option if you have access to high speed like Google Fiber or Verizon Fios. But if you are stuck on the lower rate plans, you probably definitely would want to talk about this issue. T-Mobile has LTE speeds, and I didn't take a snapshot of it. I should have, but I'm going to just read to you some of the numbers I have in my experiences with the LTE speed. So first of all, let's get started with how fast can LTE be. Now, first of all, let's talk about the equipment, because this is where it gets fun. This is an iPhone 4S. It supports HSPA+. It does not support LTEs. How am I able to get LTE speed test on it? A T-Mobile branded Samsung hotspot. This is an LTE hotspot. This is made by Samsung. This is the SM-V100T. Okay? So when I go into my phone here, and I go into the history of my testing, it's both on the home internet and on the Verizon network. If I go to the two results here, done here at November 16th at 11:40 a.m. This is the T-Mobile speeds now. 29.95 megabits per second and 25.65 upload megabits per second, and the ping rate is 46. In other words, very, very fast, very, very, very snappy, very good. But when I compare it to my home internet right below it, 16.63 megabits per second down and 1 megabit per second up with a ping time of 15 milliseconds. Also, The ping is very snappy, but the upload rate sucks. Okay, so that's what we're going to compare apples to apples, at least as far as data goes. So let's take a look at the pros and cons of each one. Let's start with the home internet from Frontier. Home internet has no data caps yet. Let's watch it. Somebody will probably put one on sooner or later, but for now there is none. Okay, you can basically stream all you want. There's no worry about if there's like 20, 30 people at the central office and they're all doing BitTorrents and you all have your own fractional T1 line or T3. Okay, you guys are not going to have to worry about tripping over each other's feet. Okay, the plan that I'm on is 1 megabit per second up, 16 megabits per second down, for $56. That's with the taxes and everything. It's a good plan. It may be available for many people in most areas, unless you're really far away from the central office. In that case, your rates go right down the shitter. Then, prior to T-Mobile's unlimited simple choice plans, there really was no way to consider using a cellular provider as your data plan because the prices were astronomically high. It still can be astronomically high, but it's becoming more and more competitive. Now, let me explain when I say competitive. With the new binge that was discussed in Uncarrier 10 or Uncarrier X, there is a convenience that you can now stream, i.e. to download all your videos, TV shows, and things like you want. Okay? And that doesn't go against your data. But what if you're a video producer like myself? These videos are not small, especially since I try to choose kind of a middle of the road quality. In other words, I don't squash the crap out of it to the point you can barely see anything, and I do not crush the data to the point where nothing is readable. So I tend to try to find a compromise which works for most people. So unfortunately, the video that we just uploaded already was close to about 2 gigabytes in size. This one is probably not going to be much smaller. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually about a little bit bigger. So if you're a video producer, it's going to go against your data allotment, okay? Because the binge on is only for video consumption. It doesn't do anything for video producers. So if you're a video producer, you're going to be eating up your data bucket, uploading your content to your Vimeo, your Ustream, your eventually YouTube as well. But right now, YouTube is not in there at this point. But as I said, this system is designed for video consumers that watch TV, not those who make TV. The next thing we're going to talk about is the plans. I wanted to explain because I have 2 T-Mobile systems here. One, I have a standard cell phone, which is an iPhone 4S, that has a T-Mobile SIM chip in it. It's a phone, it's not a tablet, okay? It's not a data-only device. And we have our Samsung data-only device. So because of that, I have 2 different sets of plans to chew through. So we're going to start with the most basic. What if you only have this? Well, this is a 4S. This only does HSPA+. It does not do LTE, okay? The 5 and newer do LTE. But depending on which phone you got. It may not cover every single band, and it may not necessarily work perfectly well for you. But let's assume, for the sake of argument, that you have a number of phones, such as the 6 and the 6 Plus and the 6S, and you got all the LTE bands on it for T-Mobile. Okay, this is not it, but let me use this as an example anyway. Okay, now, for you, you might say, well, I don't really do a lot of talking with family, either because I am not a very talkative person, or frankly, I can't hear very well. Anyway, I want a phone plan that will allow me to make a phone call if I need to, but I want a plan that is going to give me the data coverage that I want. Okay? So, you choose, first thing you're going to look at your choices. I will put a copy of this up on the wall behind me so you can see it. But right now, let me go through this here. These are the choices available for me. Okay, from the least expensive to the most expensive. The lowest cost, and I've been on this plan for a long time, so I can speak as experience. This is pay as you go. This is the old school plan. What this means is you buy refill cards like you do with TracFone and Metro PCS and the T-Mobile prepaid phones. Okay, in other words, you buy it's a $3 a month plan, but you go smaller, so you can buy as a $10 card. That's great if you're not really heavily into talking on the phone. You buy the minutes, and automatically. So, for example, a $10 card will give you about 3 months, but about 100 minutes each month. And if you go over, you still got that allotment that's going to be there until it's exhausted. That's great for talk and text, but it's paced by 10 cents per minute. So you may not benefit if you're heavy yacker on this plan. Now, for this example, let's say that for you, talking on the phone once in a blue moon, and you don't do data, that might be your best choice. The next plan is simply for people who love to yak and text, but are not really into the Facebook or the YouTube or any internet stuff. This one is called the $35 unlimited talk and text. Just like it sounds like. Talk and SMS. No email, no email service, no. Great for feature phones, like say in my old Nokia 6340i, or if you want to use it with a smartphone like this, just make it kind of a feature phone. That's what you do. That will do fine for you. It's definitely a good compromise. Or even with an old voice stream 5190, which happens to be compatible with T-Mobile towers, of course, because T-Mobile bought voice stream many years ago. Then we get into the one that Dory bought into. This is called the Simply Prepaid 1 gigabyte 4G LTE. Now, what this one is this is the least complicated of the Simply Prepaid plans. And what this is you got unlimited talk, unlimited text, which is basically the features of the plan below it for the $35. And then for $5 more, you got up to 1 gigabyte of 4G LTE speed that only is usable for the phone. There's no tethering on this plan. Okay? So, if you're not going to tether your phone, or if your phone only does 4G HSPA Plus, and if you've ever seen the download rate on this thing, you definitely wouldn't want to tether with this one anyway, but okay, that's another story. Okay, that it would be a good way for those who want to have an inexpensive data plan, and the plans go up from there. I'm not going to go through every single one of them. The $10 plan that's above it is the $50 North American unlimited tethering, talk and text, and the tethering plan is gives you, I think, up to about a gigabyte or 2 gigabytes on 4G LTE. So obviously, if you have an iPhone 6S, or even if you really are desperate and you got a 4S and you want a tether, and you realize that you're not going to get the highest speed that I showed you in an earlier page, but just maybe you need to get something together in a hurry. This $50 plan may be good for you. It's not the best. It's not the worst. It gives you 2 gigabytes of on-phone use data, plus you get tethering as well. So this is a great choice for those people who just can't live without their data for watching Facebook or YouTube on their phone. And also, I believe that one also potentially provides this binge on. And I may be wrong on that. So we know definitely on the plans of $65 and above, it definitely has that feature. So I'm not going to go into that right now. But we'll talk about Simply Prepaid in a minute and the binge on. Alright, so next thing is, okay, so maybe, like I said, you chose to go with pay-as-you-go as I did, and you bought a $10 refill for your phone, but you want to do internet, but you don't want to get stuck having to buy these expensive plans. So you scratched your hindquarters and you said to yourself, okay, I want a plan that's not going to cost me an arm and a leg. I want to mix and match the two, one for my phone, one for my mobile hotspot device. So let's say, for example, like me, you say, I'm more into mobile hotspot data. I really, really rather be able to upload videos wicked fast. I don't really get too many phone calls because of my hearing loss anyway. I don't text anybody because of my hearing loss anyway. So the texting really doesn't apply to me, and the phone just this phone. So I choose to go with a prepaid plan on the phone. Now I'm on a hotspot, which is this thing, and so now you're asking yourself, what can I do with this? Okay, well, what I chose, and I still believe it's a good choice, now that they increased the rate from 1 gigabyte to 2. This is called the Simply Choice North American Plan, 2 gigabyte monthly. It's $20 a month. Okay, it gives you 2 gigabytes of data. After you use the 2 gigabytes of data up, it goes down to a very slow data rate. Okay, 128 kilobits per second, I believe, which is fine for email and things like that. It's not really going to be fast enough to watch YouTube videos. It's not going to be wonderful for uploading YouTube videos. But hey, let's put it this way: if you really have Schitt's Creek without a paddle, and that's the only choice you got because of economics, that's the only choice you got, okay? But now, if you're having into uploading, you're going to probably want the more expensive plans. And I'm not going to go through and tell you that these are all great prices. I'm going to show you the list on the wall, but I will briefly discuss these as I understand them. The next one is called the Simply Choice North American 6 gigabyte monthly plan. Now, this one is for $35 a month. This one gives you 6 gigabytes of data, and then it falls back down to the throttled cap after the 6 gig. This, I believe, has binge on. I need to double check that because they're still programming their system, so I don't really know how that's going to work for you. But I'll just say is I think it does. Next one after that is a Simply Choice North American 10 gigabyte plan for $50 a month. Now, this one would be the closest thing in price to my Frontier plan. Okay, so this is $50, and you get 10 gigabytes of data going up and down. Remember, it is up and down. It's not just up and it's not just down. Okay, so there is a cap. Okay, so obviously, if I'm uploading videos that are 2 gigabytes in size, I can only upload about 5 of them, unless I want to sit there and twiddling my thumbs for the next few decades, watching a nice 2 gigabyte video uploading at extremely, insanely slow rates after I use up my 10 gigabytes of data. That does not make it competitive for me, because 128 kilobits per second is at least 10 times slower than the 1 megabit per second I'm getting now. So obviously, for me to upload a video at that rate, if it's taking me about, almost 10 hours now, it's going to take me 10 times so longer, or 100 hours. By that time, my computer network and me will be almost like we have constipation. We'll be basically clogging up. The work will be just backlogging all the way from here into Pluto. Okay, basically, it's not really a good choice for a heavy streamer uploader. But if you want to watch your favorite Netflix, or your kids want to watch your shows on Hulu Plus or HBO Go or Showtime, yeah, that's great, and that's definitely works with the binge on plan. It's going to give you that feature, but it's not going to be a great choice for a person that does almost every day uploads videos that potentially could be over a gigabyte in size, even in standard definition. Because the way the binge on works, as I said, it's for consumers. It's not for producers. If you're a producer, you are definitely going to want something more substantial. So let's go to the next rate. So let's compare. The next one is called the Simpler Choice North American 14 gigabyte monthly plan for $15 more, $65. This, again, would allow me to upload maybe about 7 videos at standard definition that are about an hour long, but that's about it. Okay, that kind of is getting better, but the price is also going up accordingly. The next one is called the Simpler Choice American 18 gigabytes a month plan. 18 gigabytes. Again, it means I can upload 9 videos at standard definition. That is 2 gigabytes in size. Now we're getting here into something that's a little bit more substantive and also more substantive in price. The top of the plan is a Simpler Choice North American 22 gigabytes a month plan for $95. This thing is definitely for those who are really got lots of bottomless pockets and wants to spend an exorbitant amount of money to upload videos. But it's, for me, we can calculate the cost per gigabyte if you really want to. And just go ahead and you figure out the price. I'm not going to do it right now, but I can tell you right now. Just quickly, here, we're going to say 22 gigabytes. So I take 95 divided by 22. It's going to give me a price. Same thing for the 18 divided by 18. 65 divided by 14. 50 divided by 10. And 35 divided by 6. And 20 divided by 2. The first one is going to be close. It gets cheaper in the long run as you get more and more data, but that's not the way our budgets work, honey. I'm sorry. So it's the sad truth is which plan you're going to choose is a very fine balancing act between what you can afford and what you realistically think you need. Related to something that John Legere did say, people either underbuy because of economics and get slammed with overages, or in this case, throttling, okay? Now, by taking the streaming part of the binge on out of the equation, that helps a bit, but it does nothing for those of you who are video producers. You're still going to end up getting throttled, but it's a little easier if you can leave the computer running in the background for a couple of days to upload maybe a few videos. If you're doing 1 video a month, or 2 videos a month, and you're using like 2 to 4 gigabytes of data, uploading video streams, then maybe for you might be able to get away with the $35 plan, or even possibly the $50 plan for 10 gigabytes. I easily exceed 10 gigabytes in almost 2 weeks. That's how much video bandwidth between my vlogs and everything else. I easily can consume 10 gigabytes in less than 2 weeks. And unfortunately, with my economics, that is not going to leave me a lot of money for groceries and food. So that's not an option. So maybe for you, and also these plans are reoccurringly charged to your credit or debit card. So if you don't want to get stuck with a constantly recurring charge to your MasterCard, Visa, you might want to consider going what they call the on-demand data passes. Now, I mentioned an example one time of if you're going camping and you're near a T-Mobile tower and you want a power package for the weekend. Maybe, for example, you're camping for a week. So you go ahead, you can pick up a U.S., Canada, or Mexico 7-day pass for 1 gigabyte of data for $10. Is that bad? No, it's not. If it's for a weekend, there's no binge on here, guys. Okay, so in other words, your kid's watching their TV shows on Netflix, Hulu is going to go against your data. But if this is all you need, is if you're camping anyway, this is really, man, most people are they're trying to get away from everybody, not bring their TV and their entertainment center with them, okay, in their motor homes or whatever. But so if you need something for a weekend, that might work fine for you. The most expensive day plus they have here is, these are actually almost related to the original prices on the original plans before the upgraded the other simple choices. These things have not changed much at all. So I'm going to go through these now. These last three here are the 30-day passes. The U.S., Canada, and Mexico 30-day pass, 3 gigabytes, $30. Still not a bad deal. It's not as good as the other one, which is for $30, which is a reoccurring. For 35, I'm sorry, for 6 gigabytes. But this automatically keeps going against your debit or credit card every month, and this one doesn't. You can buy the refills at Cumberland Farms, you can buy them at CVS, whatever you want. You can buy them online at tmobile.com. You put them into your phone or into your internet plan, and boom, 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 boom. Which means you don't have to have a credit card on hand. So it might be a good choice for those once in a while usages. Same thing, there's the $50 5 gigabyte plan. US, Canada, Mexico 30-day pass for $40, 5 gigabytes of data. Again, it might be good for those people who are not quite so heavily into data. Maybe they're just using it more for just occasionally checking email and Facebook. U.S., Canada, and the last one is the U.S. and Canada, Mexico 30-day pass for 7 gigabytes for $50. You got about 2 gigabytes more for $10 more. Again, this is a good choice for the person that just wants to maybe watch occasionally a few movies and stuff like that. And I didn't talk about the cheapest one. I should bring it up right now. U.S., Canada, and Mexico 1-day pass. This one is 500 megabytes for $5. Now this, I don't know if these roll over or if I know they don't roll over. They're not on data stash, but I don't know if they just soft throttle you down to Edge, or if they just totally shut you down right after your 500 gigabytes is up. But in this 500 megabytes in this case is up for $5. So I don't know how that's going to work. You might want to experiment with that if you're going to try it for camping or for light data use, maybe you're traveling. This might be a great plan to go with. So that's pretty much that. For those of you who are interested to know. Now, what is the problem with binge on? I don't think T-Mobile really gave it a lot of thought. If you happen to be living in a major metropolitan area and there's a lot of phones on, okay? I mentioned an example today in my vlog. What if you're taking a shower in your apartment complex and everybody else is taking a shower at the same time, say in the morning time? Your pressure is going to drop. your water pressure is going to drop. Depending on how many people are in the apartment complex taking a shower, you could end up with hardly no water at all to just a soft shower, a soft trickle. Okay? Well, what I find difficult to understand with John is, does this necessarily make sense? What is T-Mobile trying to do? It seems to me that they're trying to compete against the broadband providers such as Charter, Time Warner, Comcast, Cablevision in area, and Delphi, whatever the cable companies up there, and the different ones in the country. So if it's trying to compete against cable companies, first of all, the cable companies have a couple of advantages and disadvantages. Some of them which are the same kind of advantages and disadvantages that he has to deal with. That is, one, you only can do so much bandwidth in a given amount of frequency spectrum. Of course, you could say, well, we can always put another microcell tower up, or a femtocell, or a picocell. That still means that we still have to run a fiber optic cable back to the mobile switching office. Okay? That's great. But we can make the cell smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. But that means that there's more expense, because now you got to deal with more subcells that have handling what used to be able to handle, but one cell for talking basic texting is now becoming possibly broken down into 15, 20 smaller cells. That's just a lot of stuff to do, and a lot more licensing and costs. Whereas with the cable companies, most of them have a single head-end connection that has a fixed number of bandwidth going in through their coaxial pipe, because you also realize, of course, they're sending standard definition television in most of these systems, and that was seriously eating up a lot of their lunch. And of course, cable companies went to digital tiering and got rid of the analog. Charter did that here in Winston. They no longer have an analog tier on channels 2 through 30 or 2 through 56 and 99, whatever. It's all digital tier now, all the way from channel 100 and above, and there's nothing at channel 99 and below, because that was all analog, so those are gone. So what that means, far as most people are concerned, is that the cable companies are saying is, now since we've gone all digital, we can now send more digital signals through our coaxial cables and satisfy more people with faster data rate. That's great, until you got a person that starts a BitTorrent, and all of a sudden he's saturating almost every single bandwidth when BitTorrent's swarming, and all of a sudden you went from 20 megabits per second to 5 megabits per second. This is a very good example, similar to that with T-Mobile. That's why if you read the end user license agreement, it says that T-Mobile has the right to protect its network and protect the convenience of other users by shutting down data abuses, including running a BitTorrent. Because BitTorrents really, really create a major digital pain point for these providers, and it is indeed a problem. But if you're going to start streaming all of these video programs, and it's the same thing with video on demand from the cable company, which is streamed digitally to your set-top box, how in the hell are you going to maintain a good quality connection if everybody is downloading Game of Thrones? Or, some other TV show. Even if it isn't standard definition, it's true that standard definition only takes about a third of a data rate of the standard high definition. Now, since I upload in PAL, one of the things that John Legier's program does not mention, and it's not a minor inconvenience, in fact, it's very, very significant, is what happens when a 720 with 576 at 25 frames per second video when it gets into John Legier's codec. Is it going to turn that into 720 by 480 by 30 frames per second? Or is it just going to downscale the screen from 720 by 576 to 720 by 480? Okay, it's keep the same frame rate at 25. I don't know yet. Okay, but like I said, binge on is for content consumers. The producers don't benefit from binge on because we still got to pay to get the videos up there in the first place. So yeah, we kind of feel like we're getting screwed. Sorry, it's just true. But for the fixed income people who have to decide between cell phone plan and food or rent, I'm not going to judge you for choosing one over the other, but I'm going to suggest that you need to think about and this applies to anybody actually, you need to think about your usage. What do you use more? How do you use it? And then you can make a choice based on what you know, what you don't know. If you're starting out, if you have never really given much thought before, if you're getting your first cell phone, for example, and you find out that all you ever do is call family and friends and text family and friends, and you don't use data on your cell phone plan, then yes, the $35 plan, unlimited talk and text, is a great choice for you. On the other hand, if you do talk on the phone and on Facebook, but you still want unlimited calling, and you're not going to ever tether the phone to the internet for variety or to your computer for whatever reason, the $40 plan for $5 more than simple prepaid 1 gigabyte 4G LTE speed is a good choice. If you're going to go much more advanced than that, it is going to start getting more and more costly. But for me, the $40 plan might work. But I tend to use this more as a mini tablet than a phone. So I would probably say I'd rather go get either the Simple Choice North American 6 gigabyte a month plan for $35 and put the money into this device, or the 2 gigabyte monthly and put it into this device as well. But I wouldn't use it to watch YouTube videos or Hulu much, because the fact is I'm not normally watching videos and stuff out there at the Sip Kitchen. I don't usually do much heavy stuff with this thing, except maybe occasionally I watch a YouTube video as part of a demo or some kind of explanation of something. So yeah, the 2 gigabyte plan for me would work fine. Especially if once YouTube becomes part of the binge on, and if this plan does support binge on, definitely I'd consider it. It's an option. So everything that I told you, showed you, I hope is going to help you. I know that this is all new to me, it's all new to you. And some of the information I have may not be accurate. Please do not take everything I say as gospel. I'm just as much new to this as you are. I'm just trying to make heads or tails out of the question is it feasible for me to give up my Frontier Home Internet, 1 megabit per second up and 16 megabits per second down, for one of these plans for the same price? The closest plan that comes to that for the internet only is the 10 gigabyte plan, which unfortunately, given the kind of videos I upload and download, I'm just going to end up basically only be allowed to upload 10 videos at the high speed rate, and then I'm basically dead in the water. So that's not really that great of a deal. On the other hand, but the way I have now is I can upload videos, even if it is kind of slow. There's no limit to how fast I can upload or how many I can upload. So, there is that advantage too. So you have to look at the pros and the cons. And it's something that everybody in the world has to do. And it's part of being an adult, honey. It's part of growing up. It's part of looking at the realities of what you see around you. So give that some thought as you go through and decide, oh yes, by the way, maybe you might want to ask yourself a question which is related to all this. I must bring this up. Phones. A lot of people today are kind of, because of the economy in the United States, is going down the shitter, are asking themselves questions like, do I really need a top-of-the-line smartphone? Could I go for something cheaper? Well, that depends on each person's different. You could buy an expensive feature phone, like a small or like a second-hand Nokia that's compatible with your network, such as Nokia 6010, which is T-Mobile branded, or even if it's an unlocked one that works with both AT&T and T-Mobile. It's, as I said, it's just a basic phone. It doesn't really do data. It does and it don't. In other words, it does GPRS, but let's just keep it simple, say it don't, okay? It really does, but it's not really that much. No, the point is, the simple phone is you can talk, you can send text to each other. That would be, and if you don't really do a lot of talk and text, you can use that with the prepaid $3 a month plan, okay? Most people today have smartphones like this. Great phones, aren't they? Very sensitive. Their computers, they do break. The glass screen, they got a camera in the front, camera in the back. Battery is non-replaceable. Mine, it's built into the phone. You got to send it to Apple to have them fix it, which kind of sucks. They use batteries like there's no tomorrow, especially if you're doing a lot of YouTube and heavy data-intensive purposes. So you might want to consider is what kind of phone features you want. One of the sore things I really wish this thing had was a keyboard. I'm talking about a physical keyboard, one that has honest-to-God real keys, so that I could actually type on it. Now, there is ways that you can plug a Bluetooth keyboard into these phones, but it's not going to solve everything, because guess why? Bluetooth is a power-sucking pig. So, you can add a Bluetooth keyboard to this, but you're still not going to benefit because you're just going to eat more power just Bluetoothing the keyboard. So maybe you might decide why don't you go consider getting a BlackBerry second-hand one? Why not? If you're not really into data anyway, why don't you get yourself a BlackBerry? It's a good phone. It's got features on it you're going to want. Ability to do data, communications and things like that. And I'll be honest, an honest-to-God real keyboard would be a really nice way to go, because I'm not really too comfortable with this type on glass thing. I still have a hard time with it after all these years. Because of my legal blindness, I really would rather have a keyboard that I can actually type with my thumbs and being able to do things that way. Maybe you want to get an older phone like a Motorola Razr. Why not? If that's all you do is just talk and text, that's perfect. There's just a lot of different things you can do, but you got to consider to keep whatever phone plan you choose. You need to consider pros and cons in each. So don't go crazy buying things you can't afford. Don't go out there and say, well, phone first, rent later. Otherwise, you're going to end up being homeless, and then you're going to basically be saying, rent first, charge later. Okay? I think that you need to consider the realities of what you need. And don't overspend more than you need. Keep it within reason. It's really easy for first-timers to do that, is to go crazy and buy way more plan and way more phone than you're going to need. So I would say if you have no idea of what you do, either talk to somebody from T-Mobile or one of the other cell phone providers, well, the kind of things you do. If you really agree and you have no baseline, start with the simplest plan and try it out. Especially if it's prepaid. If it's not big enough for you, go to the next one. That's the easiest way to do it. For example, I started out with my mobile hotspot here. I started out with at the time it was $10. Okay, now it's $2. Now it's the $20 plan, which was originally 1 gigabyte. Now it's $2. And for most of my work, because I was using my home phone internet package here, I was just using this when I was at the soup kitchen. This worked out pretty well. I was actually able, I just turned it on, by the way. Anyway, I was able to do a variety of things, like, as I said, check my emails and things like that. It was nice and fast, watch YouTube videos. I was happy with this device, and I still think that the 2 gigabyte plan works out pretty well for me, because I don't really need to have a heavy phone plan for lots of talk minutes, because I'm not really a talker. Okay, I'm a typer. Okay, because of my hearing loss. So yeah. So everybody's going to choose a plan that meets their needs. That's the whole point of all this. And I want to thank you very much for watching this. And I hope if you have any questions, please, again, I remind you, do not be afraid to send comments to the address you see right here, bcast11162015Choosing@gmail.com. Yes, don't forget, also on Friday night, Thursday night, is a deadline for this. You have to get your questions in for Ask Us Anything. It's Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. So you got time now to sit down at the computer and write them. If you want to mail your questions by U.S. mail, I don't have the information here right now, but I'll give it to you anyway. It's MicheleMarieDalene, that's MicheleMarie, D as in dog, ALENE, 112 Main Street, that's 112 Main Street, MAIN, apartment number 9 in Winsted, WINSTED, and the zip code in the state is, first of all, the state is Connecticut, that's CT, and the zip code is 06098. And of course, that is the United States of America. And like you can see here also, you can email your questions to bicHELA3@gmail.com. Either way, I will get them. Me and Lomi will read them. We'll look at them. We'll try to answer them as best we can. And that's what we'll do. So, thank you very much for watching this. I hope it gives you some ideas of what to look for and how to make a good choice on the plans that you need for the future. Because with all the new changes, there's just a whole bunch of new options out there that are really very interesting. Now, by the way, let me ask you a question. Oh, sure. Okay, now you said you were thinking about covering the Soup Kitchen Thanksgiving dinner live on the 20th. Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I'm thinking that for me, if I don't take this red box with me, if I don't take the mobile hotspot, if I just use my phone, the $40 Subway prepaid plan would give me just about enough data to do it. So that's an option. That's what you would use. it's either that or the $20 plan using the mobile hotspot. So yeah, one or the other. Because you're really right. It's not gonna be really a long convocation in Thanksgiving. It's just gonna be kind of short. The problem is right now, Loom, is we do not have the money to do that this month. By the time we get to that billing, it's not going to happen. Right. All right. So for now, that's it for now. Thank you very much, guys. I hope this helps you out. Okay? Good luck. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, everybody. Hey, did you know there's a lot more going on right now at our websites? Are you watching all 4 of them? If not, check them out. There's a list right here. We got 3 YouTube channels and 1 audio-only channel for your enjoyment. So come on, dig in and see all the stuff we do here at the North American Snow Queen Palace.